I also thought that Trump would take a lead in Ohio, hold it, and win it. What could happen tonight, and I wouldn't bet against this, is it flips. It's the opposite of what I thought. I was wrong. And then
so we got the flip from Trippy.
Yeah, no, and we had talked about this, whether we were going to see. We started the evening, I think, talking about whether we were going to see a sort of realignment where the Rust Belt was starting to move Republican, and some of these, Florida, North Carolina, the southern
and
states,
Georgia. We haven't called Georgia yet.
Yeah, would start moving to the Democratic fold, and what's fascinating so far about the night is we may have all it may materialize the other way. It's all holding.
All right. Dana, I want to talk about the balance of power quickly, and that is this confidence now that the GOP might hold on to the U.S. Senate. Just moments ago, U.S. Senator, a Democrat from West Virginia, Joe Manchin, said he's not committed to staying a Democrat if it's a 50-50 Senate.
Oh, well. Isn't that interesting? He's tired of being in the minority, I suppose. I think that the unsung heroes of this election for the Republicans has been the National Republican Senatorial Committee. They are the ones that have done some excellent work. They had support for their incumbents early on. They were able to deal with primary challengers very effectively. They spent money early on in those states to shore them up. You look at Rob Portman in Ohio, considered to have run the best race in the entire country, and people will be modeling that race in the future. You also look at Todd Young, just won in Indiana, and I won $100 from Juan Williams, because I called that 6 weeks ago. Ron Johnson up in Wisconsin, not sure if that's going to be able to work out for him, but I do think that the Republicans, because Rubio was able to come back, he ate a little humble pie, the presidential doesn't work out, he ran a great race, and now he will be the Florida senator again. I do think that the other thing that the NRSC did that the Democrats did not do as well is they focused on, and Carl, I think that you'll agree with this, they focused on early voting in the states where they had big opportunity to do so. So Florida being one of those, perhaps in North Carolina as well for Burr to get him across the finish line.
And we haven't called that race yet.
We may be getting ahead of our skis here, but if we wind up, Carl, tonight with a President Donald Trump and a Senate that remains in the control of the Republicans, which virtually nobody thought was going to happen. They thought that the Republicans were definitely going to lose control. The
These
crowd
people
loves
back
that
here
prospect.
thought so.
They love that prospect.
They thought so.
What does that mean for the Republican Party, which was so averse to Trump, and Trumpism, if you will?
Well, it'll be interesting. First of all, it'll make it easier for them. Dana and I were in an administration that had a Democratic Senate at the beginning of our term, and getting your appointments filled and getting your policies through a little bit more difficult.
And the end, which was all about investigations. Completely.
So it'll make his life easier. But I also think we might see an interesting thing, which is the energy behind legislative initiatives will be coming from the House and the Senate more than it comes from the administration. Donald Trump he wants to repeal and replace Obamacare, but he is hard-pressed to describe what the detail of that means. There are people on the Hill ready to write that legislation for him, so that'd be interesting.
But remember, we do have a long night to go.
Well, we got a terrible night. I do want a second.
All of this is a little walked down.
Terribly long night, man. Terribly long night. I want to second what Dana said, though. Senator Roger Wicker is a pal of mine from college days, did a terrific job, and he's got a Marine named Ward Baker. Yep. And this guy has played his hand brilliantly, and she put her finger on it. They took whatever money they had and shoved it onto the field in August and September to keep their guys in the game.
Just want to stand you by, Carl, because we are able to make an important call tonight, and that is the Fox News Decision Desk is now projecting that Hillary Clinton has won the state of New Mexico over Donald Trump.
It's 5 electoral votes, but Donald Trump, we can project, wins the state of Louisiana. And it's 8 electoral votes, so our tally goes to 147 for Trump and 109 for Hillary Clinton.
There was a little play in New Mexico. It wasn't completely a foregone conclusion.
He was there.
Am I right that so far we haven't called a single swing state even now?
That's right.
That's the first one.
If you want to count New Mexico.
New Mexico is a swing state. I mean, if you want to call that.
Yeah, but it wasn't really in play.
He visited there, but you're right.
Yeah.
Okay, we're approaching 10 o'clock on the East Coast. And the shandy is coming down.
The shandy.
And polls are about to close in 4 more states: Utah, Montana, and 2 battleground states of Iowa and Nevada. These are key. Iowa was looking good for Donald Trump heading in, and we'll see what Nevada looks like.
Maybe we'll go back and harass the decision desk about what's taking so long in these states. I know it's not taking long. I know, Steyer. Well, we want answers. That's all.
I sense a walk coming.
It's like when my husband wants to go out for dinner and I'm taking too long, and he just sort of visits the bathroom, like, hey, you know, like, you got your makeup on yet? Your hair done yet? Sometimes if you visit, it can speed along the process.
Doesn't work for me.
Me neither.
We're going to bring you the results and the projections as they come in from Fox News, broadcasting in the crossroads of the world, Times Square. Don't go away.
We're looking live at Trump headquarters and Clinton headquarters as we await for some big battleground states to close pretty soon. It's getting interesting here, folks. We are waiting on a number of big states. We are waiting on some key swing states. We are waiting on some key Senate races. We're waiting.
You can feel the anticipation, right? As you look at the headquarters in particular, like look at these folks who are just they're dying for information and
Hey,
for
and there
results.
we are.
Oh, there we go. There we go. So aren't you dying for information and results, people at Trump headquarters and also at Hillary headquarters, where I'm sure we are also on?
Fair and balanced.
As we get closer and closer and closer to actual results and decisions, and a night that has a lot more promise for Donald Trump than many ever thought he might have. Want to go over to Bill Hemmer, who's on the data deck. That's what we're after, after all. Data.
Yeah,
Drilling
data.
down on the numbers. Go ahead,
Right.
Bill.
I'm Megan Brett. You interrupt me, go ahead. Whatever you want, okay? If Rove and Starwald have a thought, just go ahead and chime in. I want to show you what's happening in Ohio that is emblematic of the entire Trump campaign. You see up here in the northeastern part of the state, all right, it's about as blue as you get in a regular election year. It's blue collar, it's steel, it's coal, it's loss of manufacturing jobs. It's about Trump's message. Now, this is Trumbull County, okay? At the moment, now listen, it's 70,000 votes, probably another 30,000 to come in still. He has an edge here by more than 2 points. Show you what Barack Obama did in 2012. Same county. Obama was at 61%. 2008, 61%. 2004, John Kerry, almost 62%. This is a big part of his message that he campaigned on. Another idea here in the center part of the state, Carl, you had mentioned Delaware County a moment ago. This is suburban, it's white, it's affluent, it's highly educated. Right now, in 2004, Bush was doing 66% of the vote. 4 years ago, Mitt Romney, 62%. Pretty good. What is Trump doing in that county right now? He's off about 10 points. More votes to come in, but about 10 percentage points. Down here in Columbus, Ohio, which is Franklin, Hillary Clinton is running up the numbers on him at 64% of the vote. That's to be expected a little bit. Talk about millennial voters. You want to find a county where you can find millennial voters? This is Athens County, Ohio. That's Ohio University. Right now, they're at 56% for Clinton. Look what it was for Barack Obama 4 years ago, 68%.
Yeah.
You go back 2008, it was 68%. And right now, she's underperforming among these kind of voters, which is telling us a very interesting story. Come out into the Southwest, okay? This is Hamilton County, it's the city of Cincinnati. You mentioned Warren County a moment ago. Trump's doing all right, okay? But this is deep, ruby red Republican part of the country. What did Romney do on a percentage basis? He was up about 5 points from where Trump is right now. So you're starting to see, as this vote comes in, a bit of a shift, perhaps in the state. But, I look at this up and down the Ohio River. I mean, that is all red. This is kind of like primary numbers that Trump was doing when he was going head-to-head with John Kasich, the governor there. And I know Starwalt was talking about Belmont County. Trump's got 2/3 of the vote there right now. Yeah, okay, it's 20,000 vote total, but you start to pick up on these rural areas and you see where his message sticks and where it doesn't. And I think Ohio right now tells us a very interesting story about where this campaign, this election is right now. Quick rough count, about 3.1 million total votes cast or tallied so far. The total 4 years ago was 5 million plus. So you've got some more votes to come in. But based on what we're seeing right now, Ohio looks like a decent state for Donald Trump at the moment.
Yeah, it's
Back
really
downstairs to you guys.
It's truly amazing. Let's bring back our panel. Carl Rove, Chris Starwald, Joe Trippi, and we had Tucker Carlson. Of course, we got Chris Wallace and Britt Hume still here. I do want to mention, Tucker, right now, Dow futures are down 464 points as of right now. They don't like uncertainty.
No, they don't.
And this is uncertain, apparently.
Well, and it's also a shock. I mean, this is, among other things, kind of a rebuke to our business, the prognosticators among us who got it wrong, who turned out to, I mean, we don't know the outcome, of course, but this is not what we expected at all. because we imagined from day one this was all about Trump, and the coverage has been all about Trump, but there's another side to it. And if you're like a voter who is ambivalent about Trump the man, you also have to weigh that against a couple of unpopular wars, you know, a financial crisis that seemed to benefit a few and hurt you, a bank bailout that nobody outside New York or Washington support. You know, there's a lot of things that Hillary Clinton and the people around her and her apologists on both sides are identified with that you deeply resent. So you say, well, I don't know what Trump's going to do, but I kind of know what they did, and you go with him. And I think a lot of it, including me, kind of missed that calculation.
What about that, Joe? I mean, if these states wind up going Trump, these swing states that we're still waiting on, a significant number of them, I mean, you tell me whether the polling industry is effectively done. I mean, whether they are over, because they did not predict that at all.
I don't know. The polling industry's taken a whack for 2 or 3 cycles now, and I don't think it's going to be do anything better after this.
What are you talking about? Are you taking gas? The midterms weren't great. Midterm pollsters in 2014 didn't have a good outing. They blew a couple of calls.
The last cycle was
okay.
bad. This one.
Yeah, but if there is a Trump victory tonight, Chris, the pollsters are dead wrong. Their predictions weren't worth the paper that they were printed on.
So far, nothing has happened that was not predicted.
We understand that,
right,
but
right.
we are talking about the reality right now, which is this race is a lot tighter than many predicted it would be. I mean, people thought that
is this race a national +3 for Clinton as you're looking at these states come in? It doesn't seem like it matches that poll.
Sure, I think. Look, the polls had. I mean, the polls had Florida being pretty much a dead heat.
Right.
The polls had Ohio being
a Trump lead.
A Trump lead, but pretty much a dead heat.
What about Pennsylvania?
Had him ahead in
What about
North
Michigan?
Carolina. Had it tighter in Michigan, but with her with a lead.
We don't know what's going to happen in Michigan.
Could this night turn out to be a 3-point Clinton victory? Sure. Could it turn out to be a 1-point Trump victory? Sure. That's all within the range. Look, when a race gets this close, there are no magic beans. We do not have some magic way to tell you how it all turns out no matter what, because in the end, the people are going to vote.
No, but can I say, I mean, let's be honest, there's no one I know who thought this 3 hours ago. I mean, is everyone in the set getting texts from people saying, holy smokes? Yeah, I mean, everyone is.
Yeah.
Oh, but remember, we're not calling some of these because, for example, in Pennsylvania and Michigan and so forth, our standard is 5 or 6 points.
We like a healthier cut of bacon.
And
yes.
Yes, we want a healthier. And look, it was 2.5 points in 2004, and I can bet you a dime to a dollar the networks were calling Pennsylvania quicker for Kerry than we're willing to call it for anybody.
So given that, Carl, what would be? Let's say she manages to pull out a victory in Pennsylvania, right? Let's give Florida to Trump for this purposes of this discussion. Maybe give Ohio to Trump. Could go the other way, as you point out, but right now he's doing it fine in Ohio. Let's give him Ohio. Let's give him Florida. Let's give him North Carolina, and let's give her Pennsylvania. Of the states that are still out there right now, what would be the most likely route to victory for him?
Well, he's got to take one of the big blue states. He's got to take Michigan or Wisconsin or Minnesota or 2 of those states.
Or Pennsylvania.
Well, she said Pennsylvania.
In this scenario, they're
so,
gone.
and look, think about what she needs to get to. She's at 242 if she's got Pennsylvania and loses Ohio, Florida, and North Carolina. She adds 13 if she takes West Virginia. Or excuse me, if she takes Virginia, not West Virginia.
West Virginia.
Yeah, she takes Virginia. If she takes Virginia, that puts her at 255. If she takes Colorado, she's at 264. She takes New Mexico, she's at 269. All she needs to do is take the 2nd District of Nebraska or any other swing state.
She took New Mexico. We've called
New Hampshire.
New Hampshire's where I want to. That's the state I want to. I mean, I'm really interested in, because in the end, if she wins New Hampshire, I know this sounds crazy, but it's the facts. If you start looking at, give him North Carolina, give him Florida, give him Ohio. If she holds the blue wall up there in the Midwest, and picks up New Hampshire, this thing, she's
we have this thing called
Nevada
What If on the map up there, and Bill Hemmer will get it fired up really quickly, and we will do the whole little dance around, and you'll see. Go ahead, Chris.
Is it possible that she could win the popular vote and he could win the electoral vote?
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure, happened 4 times in our history. Can happen
You know
again.
it well?
You may be familiar.
But I mean,
Hard to do.
I'm
Hard to
looking
do.
at an
It takes a
election where
special
everything went
expertise to
right.
arrive at that, but it can be done.
tough to get there.
You really got to thread the needle.
You got to thread the needle. If you want to do it, you can do it, but it's really hard to do.
The triple Lindy of electoral outcomes. Yes, sir.
All right, we're going to get our stuff together. We're going to see what we can call. We're going to see where we are on Senate races and states we have yet to call. And we want to check in with what's happening on social media. Shannon Bream has been following Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. I'm sure it's busy, Shannon.
It is. And guys, we want to show you what just came in from Ivanka Trump. She tweeted this out. She says, watching the votes come in at headquarters, you can see her dad there, the candidate, of course, Tiffany, Governor Mike Pence, Donald Jr., and others. We were there inside. They give us an exclusive look at the war room today. That wall they're looking at is a bank of screens. Prominently, Fox News was there, but all the other networks as well. It's pretty amazing. And you can only imagine the tension probably in that room right now. Now, let's go to Florida, where you're all watching. It is too close to call. But one thing we do know about Florida voters, get this, they are psyched that the medical marijuana amendment passed. Tons of posts on Facebook about how the measure formally legalizes medical marijuana. So they're focused on that while we're waiting for the presidential vote as well. Now to viewer photos, Callan Edick posting on Instagram, Florida panhandle voters. What's better than a man in uniform? A man in uniform who exercises his right to vote. Alessandri CPAs tweeting, Rocky watching Fox TV. America's election for Trump. Win in Florida. Hillsborough County not helping. Of course, that's the Tampa area, that I-4 corridor. They use the hashtag dog race for this one. Airs Jake 2500 tweeting, working hard to get Mr. Trump, the state of Florida. They look like they're having a really good time there. It is the Sunshine State. They got their suits on. All right, keep the photos and tweets coming in. Just use the hashtag Fox News 2016. We'll keep an eye on Florida and all the other states in the balance as well. Back to you guys.
Shannon, thank you.
By the way, a couple of calls. West Virginia governor goes to the Democrat, Jim Justice, and Indiana governor goes to the Republican, who's following up in Governor Mike Pence's spot, the Lieutenant Governor, Jim Holcomb.
Lost to Mike Pence last time around. We are counting down the moments now until the polls close at 10 p.m. Eastern. We're about 5 minutes away, folks, from polls closing in 4 big states: Iowa, Nevada, Montana, and Utah, which has also been somewhat in play this election. We are still waiting on huge states like Florida, Ohio, Pennsylvania, North Carolina, Michigan. Pretty much all of them, other than New Mexico, have not been called. Stay with us on an exciting night.
We can call Virginia for Hillary Clinton now. We couldn't for some time, but tonight we can say that the Commonwealth, I should say, of Virginia will go to Hillary Clinton. Again, that Northern Virginia area where there are a lot of Democratic votes coming in late here, and now Hillary Clinton gets the state of Virginia, the Commonwealth rather, and now she has 122 electoral votes to Donald Trump's 147.
That's got to come as a huge relief, Britt Hume, too.
Yeah, I would think so. Although, I mean, when you look at where he traveled at the end and the states he was trying to put in play, there wasn't a big effort in Virginia. I think Virginia had been thought to be gone for some weeks now.
After Comey, he went back down there.
Yeah, he did. He made one foray, but this is not. I don't think any of our decision desk people would count this as a surprise.
Especially
it's important, though.
Tim Kaine, it's his home state, and he's got
reasonably popular there too.
It would be embarrassing to lose it.
It would be. It'd be like Mike Pence losing Indiana.
Well, and New York is the home state for Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump, at least right now. And, you know, one of them had to win it. Same
Virginia's
dynamic.
former governors tend to be popular. And a lot of people think it's because they only serve one term, but constitutionally they can only serve one term, and they tend to remain popular, which I think it's always been kind of an interesting phenomenon. John Warner once told me, he said, Virginians love their governors. Now, he, of course, has been in the Senate, and who knows what may have happened to his popularity then, but it's a fact of life in that state's politics.
It was just another route, perhaps, for Trump to get those necessary extra votes. If he gets the Romney states that he needs to get, and then that gets him to about, I think it's 253, he needs to add 17 electoral votes to that, and Virginia would have been a nice way to do it, but not going to happen for him tonight. As, again, we've only called 2 swing states, New Mexico and Virginia. They've both been called for Hillary Clinton. Those are not big surprises. We're still waiting on the biggest questions of the night at 9:59 Eastern Time, and we're waiting on a couple more states to call. We expect to have a couple more race calls for you.
This next batch of polls include Iowa, which is a state that had been trending towards Donald Trump, also Nevada, which is a huge swing state, and Utah, that became a big state with independent candidate Evan McMullin factoring in there as well as the top two-party candidates.
Nevada has been hard fought, heavy Latino population, but also white working class. And so that one's been in contention for some time, with both candidates paying a lot of attention and a real question about whether Trump can woo enough voters in that state over his side to make the difference. Let's check it out.
It is 10 p.m. on the East Coast, and polls have now closed in 4 more states, including several of the most important battlegrounds in the nation. But first, let's start with Montana, where Fox News can project that Donald Trump will win that state's 3 electoral votes. Trump is also ahead in Utah, that we just mentioned, although it's too early to project whether he will beat not just Hillary Clinton, but also, as we mentioned, independent candidate Evan McMullin, a conservative Mormon whose best and perhaps only prospect for winning a state tonight is in Utah. By the way, the last time the presidential candidate who was not from a major party won an electoral vote was 1968, when George Wallace carried 5 southern states.
But the real battlegrounds at this hour are in the absolutely crucial states of Iowa and Nevada, each of which represent 6 electoral votes. Although Donald Trump enjoyed small leads in both states and the Real Clear Politics average of pre-election polls, it's still too early to project whether that will translate into Trump victories tonight in these 2 states. Iowa and Nevada, too close to call.
He traveled to both of them a number of times, and it's going to be interesting to see how the Latino population in Nevada plays out in a state that seemed to be trending towards Hillary Clinton. Chris Wallace, your thoughts on that?
Well, this is interesting because if Trump doesn't win Pennsylvania, let's say he wins all of the Romney states, which includes North Carolina, plus he wins Ohio, plus he wins Florida, that gets him to 253. He's 17 shy of the 270. Now, if he wins Pennsylvania, that puts him over the top right there because there's 18 electoral votes. But if he didn't, and then there's the question of how could you cobble together some states? Nevada, 6 electoral votes. Iowa, 6 electoral votes. That now gets him into the 260s. So, you can begin to see, then you get 1 vote in the 2nd district in Maine. You could begin to cobble. There's a sort of small way of going rather than flipping one big blue state. So those are important. Those could be the difference between him being elected or not elected.
Mm-hmm. And, Iowa, as we pointed out, Britt, Trump has been expected to pull out a victory there. Yeah. Still too close to call, which doesn't tell us much. But he's still defending some turf, including Georgia as well tonight.
Yeah, that we haven't called that. And, of course, we haven't called North Carolina, which, that's a